Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andra and today I'm going to be giving you guys a very honest and behind the scenes look into a Fraser Island day tour. Now, I just want to start by saying that I did this tour with my husband Rich and we are quite experienced travelers. 9 out of 10 times, if we have the option of doing a trip by ourselves, we normally will take that route. But there's a very specific reason why we chose to do a Fraser Island day tour, which I'm going to talk about in this video. I'll share with you guys who we booked with, how much it cost, and at the end of the video, most importantly, I'll share if we would do it again and if it was worth it. Fraser Island has been on our bucket list since before we even moved to Australia. For those of you that don't know, we both grew up in Canada, in Toronto, Canada, and we moved to Australia about 4 years ago. So I always heard about this Fraser Island and I always wanted to go there. So when we booked a holiday trip to Noosa, I knew that Fraser Island was quite close and we both wanted to really visit it. So we looked into doing it ourselves and I knew you needed like a four-wheeler to go there and it was quite far on the map in terms of distance, and Rich and I don't particularly like driving. Like, none of us enjoy being at the wheel. And no matter what research I looked, it just kind of seemed like a hassle to go all the way to Fraser Island for one day. So I thought, let me just take a peek at some tours and see how they do it. So we booked through a website called fraserfree.com.au. Put the link down below, and we paid $190 per person. Now, if you're anything like me, when I first saw that price, I was kind of like, oh, that's quite expensive. Like, is it really worth it? That's like nearly 400 bucks for the two of us to go. Given that everything was taken care of and we really wanted to see the island, we just decided to bite the bullet and go for it. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna insert the vlog that I filmed while we were on the Fraser Island tour, so you have a really good idea of what we saw and I guess what you can expect. And then at the end of the video, I'll tell you what we enjoyed, what we didn't enjoy, and most importantly, if we would do it again. So apparently, that's what we're gonna be driving in today. Can you get more Australian than that? Enjoyed that little video there, and I think now you have a really good idea of what you can see when you go to Fraser Island. So without further ado, let's get into the facts. So firstly, what did we enjoy? As I said in the beginning, Rich and I don't like driving, so we really like the fact that everything was organized for us, and the vehicle that we drove in, as you saw, was really cool. It was really Australian, and it had massive windows, so you got a really cool view of the ocean. A side tip for you is, if you're going on the Fraser Island day tour, is make sure that on the way there, you make it a point to sit on the right side, because the windows are on the right side and you're gonna have the best view. We unfortunately made the mistake and we didn't know that, so we sat on the left side, and the whole time I was like, I just want to be sitting on the right side. Another little tip is, if you do the tour, I highly recommend jumping in the front seat for at least an hour or so, just because the view from the front seat when you're driving on those beaches is amazing. The transport was awesome. Our tour guide was amazing. Like, he was basically like a walking encyclopedia about Fraser Island. He was super professional. You kind of just felt like everything was gonna be taken care of. At one point, which I didn't film, we did get stuck in the sand. The roads are really, really rocky, and I just couldn't, like, I couldn't capture that scene. It would have just been us in the car going like this for a very long time, which I don't think is very entertaining. But basically our van or vehicle got stuck in the sand at one point, and he like knew exactly what to do. He like modified the air in the tires, and it was just nice to know like, okay, we're in good hands, everything's taken care of. Which brings me to the next point, which is you do need a 4x4 to go visit Fraser Island, because their highways and roads are on sand, as you saw. So if you have like a little dinky 4x4, then I would personally be quite nervous to go myself, because I don't want to get stuck. One thing that I always have a problem with, and this is not just Fraser Island, but tours in general, is that they just move so fast and you don't have time to like properly sit and enjoy any of the locations. And that's why I said the most of the time Rich and I choose to do things by ourselves, because I get to a location and normally I'm like, I want to spend like all day here. But when you're on a tour, you've got like 10 minutes, maybe 30 minutes if you're lucky, and you can snap a photo or two, kind of take in the scenery, and then you gotta go because you've got so much to see. So there's two stops in particular that I loved so much, and that was Eli's Creek and Lake Birrabeen. Now there is a more famous lake on Fraser Island. It's called Lake Mackenzie, but because we went over the December holiday period, it was just way too busy at that time. So our tour guide said that we're gonna go to Lake Birrabeen instead, because it was much more quieter. And to be honest, it was really quiet. Like, it didn't feel like it was the holiday season at all. And it was just as beautiful to swim in. So if it was up to me, if I had done it my way, we would have probably spent like 2 hours at Eli's Creek and then 2 hours at Lake Birrabeen and had lunch somewhere in the middle and then went back. Instead of stopping at a few additional locations that we stopped at. Like there was a shipwreck, and there was I think a spot called the Pinnacles, which were really pretty and cool, but again, it was just so fast that you didn't get time to like properly like look at the shipwreck and take it all in. But that's nothing to do with like the tour company. I think that's just every tour that I've ever been on in my life. I'm always like, can we get like half an hour more? Can we get an hour more? And I'm always a little bit stressed because I want to spend more time. So would I recommend a day tour? The answer is yes. I spoke at the beginning about it costing $190 per person. We later found out that I think the entrance to the national park, or Fraser Island, I'm not exactly sure, is about $120. Plus we would have had to rent a four-wheeler, plus pay for fuel, plus one of us would have had to drive and, you know, coordinate maps and stuff like that. So to be honest, looking at the price comparison that way, I'm like, oh, 400's not that bad, because we would have had to pay that much anyway if we did it ourselves. That being said, what I recommend is if you have 2 or 3 days, I would recommend 2 nights probably to spare. Go and do Fraser Island and stay overnight, and you could do it yourself, or you can book like a tour that's longer. But if you're like us and you know you're going and you don't really have that much time, we spent 7 nights in total in Noosa, so we wanted to get really the full experience of being in that area versus spending like 3 of those nights in Fraser Island. So if you're like us and you really want to see Fraser Island because it's on your list, but you just don't know if you want to spend more than 1 night, then I highly recommend the tour. I personally think that that's the only way that you should do it, because why stress to coordinate all those things and try to figure out where everything is and how everything works when you're just gonna go for 1 date anyway. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it makes your decision of whether or not you're gonna do a Fraser Island day tour that much easier. Be sure to subscribe for more videos. I will be reviewing much more of Australia's destinations. I mean, we've lived here for 4 years now, holy smokes, and I'm just starting to film the things that we're doing now, and I almost think like I wish I did this from the very beginning, because we've seen so much of the country, but better late than never. So I'll see you guys in the next video.